Okay, today we're going to be doing the lab percentage of water in a hydrate. I have all my materials here that have been listed. I actually have an extra little something here, which is my little helper of a beaker. Okay, so the first thing on this lab, it says to measure the mass of the test tube to the nearest 0.01 grams. It says be careful the test tube does not fall off the balance pan. Place 1 small crystal of copper 2 sulfate pentahydrate in the test tube and measure the mass, measure the total mass of the test tube and the crystal. Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to show you a little hint or a little cheat sheet here. Now, we're going to turn on our little electronic balance. Now, when things roll off, the little balances or any type of balance, what you want to do is use like another object that will hold it in place. That way it doesn't roll around. So I'm going to be using my beaker here, and that beaker is going to have a mass. Now, I really don't feel like doing a lot of math today, so I'm going to zero it out so that it's not taking into consideration the mass of the beaker itself. So I'm going to put my test tube here. On here it says that the test tube by itself is 19.5. All right, so you're going to write it on your paper right here. Now I'm going to add the crystals. Now, for time reasons, I'm using a more of a powdered form. There we go. And this is the mass with the crystals itself. And that mass you will be writing right here. Okay. Next, it says gently heat the test tube for 2 to 3 minutes and record your observations. So getting our test tube holder, we're going to be heating it. Now, the way that you heat it is you're going to putting it in and out of the flame for 2 to 3 minutes. So let me, since I'm recording myself, I'm going to set it up. There we go. So 2 to 3 minutes. Set my timer. Oops. All right. So you go in and out of the flame. And make sure it's away from you and your partners. So in about 1 minute into the heating, what I'm going to do is try to get my glass stirring rod so that I can make sure that it's heated evenly. So I have 18 seconds left. This is why we take safety precautions with our goggles and our lab coats, our aprons, so it doesn't spark on us. take it off the heat, and we're actually going to allow it to cool off. Now, you let it cool off for about 2 to 3 minutes again. That way, when you get the mask, the heat actually does mess with the mask that you get. So that's why you want to let it cool off. Okay? So we're going to let it cool off for 3 minutes or so. And meanwhile, again, I'll try to speed up the video so that you don't have to look through all this. Remember to always point it away from your lab partners and away from yourself. Try not to do it up and down too much. I know right now it's a little hard for me to do it by myself, but it's all good. And always wear your goggles and your aprons. Now, the reason we're heating it twice is because what you're trying to do is drive away as much of the water as possible. After each heating, we are taking the mask to see if it stabilizes. So right now it seems like it is actually, let me bring it over here. It seems as if everything has been driven off. It's like a white powder. It used to be blue. Okay. And so after every heating, we're going to get the mask just to be, make sure that we drove off all the water, because that's also going to be going into the effect of your percent error. So we want to be as precise and as accurate as possible. Let me get the prepared the little balance ready for us. Again, I am using the beaker so it doesn't roll off and we don't have to do much with it. Now, mind you, you have to take into consideration sometimes a little bit of the chemical stays on the glass stirring rod, so you have to be careful with that. That does go into the percent error. Put my beaker on onto my scale, and I'm going to zero it out. Get everything ready. All right, so we get the mass of test tube and powder. Let me bring this over so you can see. Now the mass has gone down to 19.9. So we're going to try a little bit more, driving off some of the water. And if you can see, there's some water on the sides of the test tube, so might have a little room for driving off some more water. All right. Again, I'm going to dislodge it a little bit. And it's another 2 to 3 minutes. Going back and forth after every minute. I would try to dislodge it. If you had another partner with you, you would have the partner try to dislodge it as the other one's waving it back and forth in the flame. Okay. And just remember to try to shake off as much of the chemical off the stirring glass rod, so that your percent error will be lower. very carefully because it is hot. All right, so 3, 2, 1. All right, so that's the end of that second heating. I'm going to turn this off, and again, we have to leave it another 3 minutes so that we can cool it off and actually get good numbers on this. So I'm going to move this over so that you can see. And you should be good. So yes, 3 minutes, guys. It's 3 minutes. As we're waiting, you can actually see it's still a white powder. Okay. And let me get the scale ready. Okay. So as you can tell, it's a blue little powder before, blue little crystals. And then you have what's left over. All right. Put it on here. Okay. And that is our mass. So we actually did a really good heating the first time. It still stayed the same. It's very consistent, so that means we drove off all the water. Okay, and then again, you're going to write your results right after the second heating. Okay. All right. So anyways, again, we went from this to the powder. Put it over here. It's powdery white. Okay. The last thing it asks us to do is to, it says reheat gently 4 minutes, add 10 drops of deionized water. So we're going to add some water to this, and so I can show you what it looks like. Put it right here. See if I can do this. Turns blue again. Okay, so, and that is it for this lab. All you have to do is make sure you get answer all your analysis and conclusion questions at the end, and you're done. Thank you for watching.